The biggest lesson I learned is that I could have the conversation with men and women, and that men need empowerment. And that if we only cultivate women, how are we helping the women when they go back to the men, nothing has grown there? And that men need the opportunity to grow by just planting a seed too. Not going in with the intention of, I'm going to change men, but going in with the intention of understanding that seeds need to be planted there too, and that they're a flower blooming just as much as the woman. And that if we allow both to grow, that's when the garden takes place. I learned a valuable lesson. He said, let me teach you something. The most important thing to us is our children. I said, thank you for helping me to understand that. It's our children. Okay, I respect that and I understand it and I receive it. I said, so do you think that your children would have more if you came up in a loving relationship? And he looked at me and he says, okay, I received that. So we went back and forth. Another question that was asked is, why are we jealous? Why are we jealous? Why
are the men jealous? Why are the women jealous?
Why are we jealous is when you're in Angola, people tend to be jealous over things, not people. Things. So the factor of you have more things than I do. I want more things. She has that thing and I want it. Those types of jealousies. And I asked, why do you think men and women have jealousies? And it's, we don't have enough money. And I said, well, I would dare to say something else. I would dare to say that people are jealous because they don't have anything else to focus on. If you focused on a better relationship and love, if you focus on lifting each other up and sharing the burden, if you focused on some of those other things, then maybe you wouldn't be so jealous over stuff because you have something else that fills that hole. And it was at that time, all of a sudden, I heard, doctor, will you go to our village? And I said, Job, who are they calling doctor? He said, they're calling you doctor. Why are they calling me doctor? I'm nobody's doctor. That's a sign of respect, Enolia. Receive it. They heard you, and now they're calling you doctor. And I thought about this for a long time. And then he said it again, and I didn't hear it because I was still reeling over the fact that they're calling me doctor. And he said, Cito said to me, will you come to our village? Oh, you're inviting me to your village? I'd love to meet your family. No, will you come to our village and speak? Will you come and talk to my wife? Will you come and talk to our village elders? Will you come and talk to the couples that are there? This would help them. I've never thought about things this way. I enjoy this. This is good. This is good things. And then someone else chimed in and said, will you come to our village? We could talk to our children. And they would have a different way of seeing things, perceiving things. And you put it in a way that makes sense. This makes sense for me. I'm going to talk to my wife. I can't wait to get home to talk to my wife. Will you come? And I couldn't believe it. Because in my own heart, in my own head, I thought I could only have this conversation with women. And to dare to have it not only with men, but it being translated and there being a gap between the conversation of understanding without, God bless him, Job, translating verbatim what I was saying without ever adding a twist. And then sometimes taking the conversation and using our being together as an example of lifting each other up and sharing our knowledge and ideas and wanting success for both of us. And how he explained that I have my own business and he has his own business, and that we're able to lift each other up and support each other in that regard is another way of thinking, and how living it is the most beautiful thing that he's ever experienced and that I've ever experienced, because our dreams are coming true, and that's why we're even sitting here in this van. And the first of the few were now at a stop where they had to get off and go to their families in the village before we got to Luanda. And they hugged and kissed us and said what a pleasure it was to meet us. And they left. And we continued on. Hiro was still there, the one that had the most questions. And I finally found out the name of the gentleman next to me, Rodriguez, and he said, how do you share this stuff? I said, I do workshops. Can I come to your workshop? Can I work with you in your workshop? Will you come to my village too? You know, I said, that's why I'm here in Angola. I'm trying to establish myself so that I can work and do this kind of work. Well, let's do this. Let's share Facebook. And we all exchanged information and contact. And they watch to this day what's being said and where I am and the work. And we stay connected because I will go to their village. And I declared it as we shared exchanges on Facebook. As soon as my paperwork was ready, I will visit, teach, share, and go to your workshop to just share another perspective. So this was amazing to me because I thought that I needed more to be able to have this conversation with them. That this was so touchy, and that I thought that maybe it was a way by sharing my culture that then they would understand that this culture might be better. But it wasn't any of that. None of it was valid. It was having a conversation coming from my heart, respecting their traditions, respecting their values, planting a seed of something different, and letting them expound on that seed planted without me ever having to impose, well, look at how I do things here in the United States. That's how it's different. Well, look at how I would do this and look at that. I didn't do any of that. I planted a seed by asking the question or by sharing a viewpoint, and then let them take that and let it grow where it was supposed to. And that's all I needed to do. We, as teachers, as trainers, as people who want to impact the world, don't always have to come like a bulldozer, pushing our values and saying that our way is better. But what we can do is share what we've learned or ask the question, and sometimes that's enough. And I learned how to have one of the hardest conversations I've ever had without having to be my New Yorker corporate aggressive, without having to push my own values and my agenda, without having to dominate the conversation, but just planting the seed, and over a period of 5 hours, watching it grow.